In that post, I talked about the market potentially being oversold enough, and sure enough, the market rebounded and in many cases bounced sharply. I could almost call this post the day everything worked. So we're going to do a really quick speed round because just about every chart is up and gave gains. So here's the S&P 500 up 1.4%. The index continues to refuse to stay below the 50-day moving average much. 50-day moving average is this red line right here. The NASDAQ doesn't look quite as dramatic, but it also gained 0.8%. It's still knocking on the door of this, well, what's looking like a triple top. It was a double top. Let's see if it can break out. The small caps bounced above the 50-day moving average, gained 2.1%. The VIX, so the sellers couldn't follow through and the faders did. The VIX got absolutely smashed, down 13.7%. I almost want to buy some UVXY call options, UVXY call options just as a hedge. But, again, this is just typical behavior. The faders always win out at the end of the day. Let's move on to some individual stocks. AGNC Investment Corp, one I talked about selling earlier after the 50-day moving average breakdown, up 2.2% today. Allegheny Technologies Incorporated, up 2.7%. Applied Materials, up just 1.4%, and it's actually knocking on the door of this 50-day moving average resistance. So that's a key one to watch to see how the market resolves that. In the currency markets, I always talk about the importance of the Australian dollar versus the Japanese yen. And, this big rebound here of 0.9% is a big move in the currency market. You can see at the time that I'm posting this, the currency pair is pulling back a little bit. So let's be careful about Tuesday being a disappointment without follow through on Monday's big rebound day. Best Buy was kind of interesting because it faded sharply from what was looking like a good gain. It's up just 1.0% on the day, but this pattern right here looks like a bottoming kind of spinning, what we call spinning doji. So check it out. If it breaks below here, it's a short. Otherwise, this is a long to at least a test of 200-day moving average resistance. BHP Group Limited, the diversified commodity player, of course, it soared 2.8%. I wish I was brave enough on Friday to just go ahead and buy this overextended drop well below the lower Bollinger Band, which is this black line here. Let's keep it moving. Corning, it bounced off this 200-day moving average, so I went right in and bought some. So that should be good to go, I hope. DoorDash did not follow through on what I thought could be a bearish setup. Instead, it bounced 3.5%, so the bearish setup is gone. My trade never triggered, thank goodness, so I'm all good there. Financials, of course, they rebounded very strongly, 1.9%, and they're looking to fill up this gap from at least Friday's losses. Illinois Toolworks, it's still far away from my buying point. This pop here leaves what's called almost an abandoned baby bottom. So who knows? Illinois Toolworks may not get to my buy point near the 200-day moving average anytime soon. Silver up just 0.8%, but it's successfully defending this 200-day moving average. If I had new money to put in here, if I didn't have a position with new money to put in here, I'd go ahead and take a chance and buy at this point. Lennar, one of the few individual stocks I had that actually had a negative day, down just 0.6%, but it's still important that it failed for a second day in a row to break this 50-day moving average resistance. So that's still a point of caution, even though Lennar may have changed the tenor of the housing plays. Maxar Technologies up 1.4%. I went ahead and bought, as I mentioned in the last post, I like this bullish breakout above the 50-day and 200-day moving average. I went ahead and bought the dip in intraday. Meritor, not much I want to do here. It faded off of its highs, but still gained 2.41%. It looks good as a bottom fishing play, but I'm just going to be patient and see whether it can get closer to that longer term bottom of the trading range. Nike earnings are coming up. Nike's no longer limping. It, of course, popped 1.3% and left behind this bar. So who knows? Maybe Nike is just in for a lot of churn through earnings. Gold also popped up 1.2%. It's looking good. I was hoping to buy call options on a test of these lows. With this bounce, I guess uh, these lows will not be tested anytime soon, but we'll see. The Mosaic company, the fertilizer company, it of course is up 3.1%. I was thinking I wouldn't be trying to buy it until it tested 200-day moving average, but look at this. It also left behind a sort of abandoned baby bottom with the spinning doji pattern. That's a bottoming pattern, so I want to buy tomorrow, and the stop is below this low point, and of course look to take profits around the 50-day moving average resistance. Finally, Winnebago Industries, it was up nicely 4.0%, but still nothing to do here because earnings are coming up, and of course the stock stalled right here at the 200-day moving average. So the message here is that this was a strong rebound day off of what turned out to be indeed oversold enough conditions. The market last week was just going nuts. I forgot that Friday was also what's called a quadruple witching day, which means all sorts of derivatives and options are expiring. So crazy things are bound to happen. So look for the dust to settle this week. We may get lower and lower moves, lower magnitude moves. Don't chase things and be very careful of what you're doing. Happy trading and see you the next time.